Although the name Eric Hosin is readily identifiable with the insurance industry in Jamaica and the Caribbean, he could very well have been given a national honor for the roles he's played as husband and father, president of his daughter's Parent-Teachers Association, preacher, or as a corporate executive which allows his Christian principles to guide everything he does. From the tenement yard at Barnes Avenue off Maxwell Avenue to the president's office at Guardian Life in New Kingston, to King's House. Along the way, you'll discover why he was called electric as a boy and what happened that day when he was beaten 4 times. Good evening. I am Faye Ellington. This is Profile. My guest is Eric Hosin. So good that you could join me for this edition of Profile. My guest is Eric Hosin, as you've heard. Eric, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
What was going through your mind as you stood in line waiting to hear your name announced to go up to receive your command of the Order of Distinction?
I can't believe this. That's really what it was. I mean, you know, is this really happening? Just never dreamt of anything like this happening. I mean, you know, growing up as a young man and even in life, just going along, just never understood that God would have put me in a position like this. So I am blessed.
God is at the center of everything you do, and we're going to get back to that. But let's go to Barnes Avenue off Maxwell Avenue. You're pretty young when you left, because you left at 4 to Washington Gardens. But do you have any early memories?
Very little, very little. Mainly from, you know, my brothers and sisters, and you know, my mother would tell me about what used to happen there. You know, it was a time of just enjoying yourself. I mean, that's how I've lived my childhood, just having
enjoying
fun.
yourself.
Too
was
much.
there a sound system that you at that yard at Barnes Avenue?
Well, my mother, one of the things she did, I think, was that she actually got permission from the landlord to cast an area right by the front, because it's on the corner of Barnes Avenue and Maxwell Avenue. And because my dad was in and out and not absent, she had to find a way, and she was a housewife. So she actually rent out the space, the sound system, for them to have dance and things. So it was a creative way of trying to make money.
She was an entrepreneur. That's
oh,
what
yes.
she was.
Oh, yes.
Let's move across to Washington Gardens. The family moved there. What were the circumstances that led to that? Do you recall?
I think it was my brothers and so on, because my brother, because of the circumstance, my brother left and started to work at about 13, 14 years old, the eldest one. And so it was a part of how he would help. And my other brothers and sisters, they would leave school pretty early to start working. So they had it even harder than I did, you know. And I thank God for them, because they did a lot to help me. But they put together, and they worked with my father and got a mortgage to put together this house in Washington Garden. It was in the bushes at that time. There was hardly any houses around. But Washington Garden was fun. It was bush, and that was something nice.
You used to go bird bush?
Well, we used to have a slingshot, and we used to go up there, and used to, you know, wasps used to bite you, because, you know, they used to have this tree there. I mean, a lot of people don't even know this thing that they call clammy cherry. We used to call it clammy cherry tree. And let me tell you, man, you see a nice, ripe bunch up the top there, man, and you go after it, and then wasps catch you up there, you know.
You come down, you beat, hasty retreat.
Some of us drop like breadfruit to drop out of trees.
You were poor. The family was poor. 9 children. You were 7th in the lineup.
Yes.
How you managed?
You know, it was difficult. I mean, and more difficult because, you know, I think my dad was just so horrible, so terrible. I mean, he never provided, he never tried, but I think he had outside children too, and he had outside interests and so on, you know. So he was in and out sometimes. He was not around. He had a pig farm thing with a Rasta man. Him and a Rasta man had some pigs. Not really a pig farm. It's like them had some few pigs and thing, but really never. I mean, you just grew up. I mean, sometimes when water is off, light is cut off, water cut off. You know, it's just you just get used to it. Not having lunch money.
And food for just a regular meal.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, it was like that. It was just rough, but you just never knew you were poor. I think maybe my mother was maybe a little bit more embarrassed, because, I mean, people would see people with complexion like this and think that, well, everything is all right. And then to see your house don't have no light, and it's not an electrical problem you have, or, you know, you don't have water, you have to beg the neighbor, you know, to run a hose across. So But it never troubled me.
And second-hand clothing was a regular for you?
Oh yeah, well, it hand me down. It was a hand me down situation, and I say you keep going.
So sometimes the pants them was
very
short.
They were very short. I mean, I remember, in fact, a young lady that I worked with reminded me that she was one of those who used to laugh after me because the clothes never looked so right. But it was fashion now. The shorter pants and the thing. I went to Italy one day and saw it and saw, oh, the shorter it was, the more expensive the pants was. And I said, you see that? I was a trendsetter. I was ahead of my time.
You said your mother might have felt embarrassed, but what about you? When you had to be wearing the hand-me-downs and the clothes that didn't fit right and sometimes you're barefoot, did it affect you?
No, not at all. I tell the people, I mean, certain things don't trouble me, Certain things just don't trouble me. So you can't say anything. I don't mind. I don't have a problem with it because, hey, I know who I am. I remember one day, though, I will never forget it, when I was at John the Baptist Church. And
this is in Johannesburg?
No, this was actually John the Baptist in Patrick City.
Oh, so in Patrick City.
I was an altar server, and I went there, and the clothes was really not looking so good. Wash out, tight up, and thing, but that's what I had to wear. And about 4 girls laughed me to scorn, man. I walked, and I really felt ashamed that day. But I said to myself afterwards, but if I were them, would I have laughed? Maybe. So
you went to Duhaney Park Primary School.
Oh, wonderful school. Wonderful.
What are your memories?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it, man. It was fun. And even more fun that I had more playtime and I didn't have any lunch money because I could play right through the lunchtime. And so, one set would go for lunch and the other set would be playing, and then, you run and join the line and then you buy a lunch. So nobody knew that I didn't have any lunch because I was just ramping right through.
What are you doing? Kicking soft drinks, box and
all kind of things. And then, used to play dandy shandy. I was good at dandy shandy too. A whole group of us guys and things, and the girls always take away them ball. But the key thing was to take away the ball from the dandy shandy game and throw it. And by the time they run to you, throw it again to another guy, and they get vexed with you and hate you. But that was the fun.
That was a playing, particularly when you didn't have money for lunch. But how about the academics? Did you buckle down and do your schoolwork?
Oh, jeez, I was a horrible child. Horrible. When it comes to school, well, one of the things is that I remember my wife always reminded me, say, you're so horrible. One of the persons I did not like was a young man who gave me, in Christmas, they had this exchange of gift. And the boy gave me one book for gift.
Pixie.
I said, I vex. I looking for a toy, some toy or something. I mean, I was just not into the books. So I didn't do well at doing a primary school. I wanted to just enjoy life, and that was a part of my problem.
As a matter of fact, tell us about the time you got onto a vehicle barefoot and what happened in your house because of it.
Oh well, I had one pair of shoes, but the rule is I was barefooted around the yard, on the street with Wayne and Enos and all of us. And if you're going over to Daytona Plaza, which is across the boulevard, barefooted, no problem. But if you are taking the bus, you must wear the one pair of shoes you have. So my mother sent me to Duhaney Park to buy something. And I remember seeing the boys taking bus barefooted, and it looked interesting. It looked like something that is adventurous. I like Huckleberry Finn. So I used to my mind, I was like a Huckleberry Finn type guy, Moon River, wider than the end. And so I decided to hide my shoe in the bush and take the bus barefooted. Came back home, everything was fine until this little old lady passed and said, Miss Hosin, hi, what happened to Ricky? She said, what, nothing him inside? She said, oh, because I see him down Duhaney Park playing football barefooted and walking back down barefooted down this. I was wondering if something wrong with him. Savior Jesus, pilot me. Mother beat me. She said, I disgrace the family. So she beat me. Then my brother came home, because at that time, your brother could beat me. So my brother beat me, came home and beat me. And then my sister came home in the evening and beat me too. And then my father wake me up late in the night and beat me again. I mean, a nice boy like me. For beating away.
Eric Hosin, president of Guardian Life, is telling us about the beatings he's got in one day. 4 beatings, but you did deserve it, though. Not only did she send you out, but you're going to play football, and you take out the one pair of shoes, suppose rainy fall.
Well, boy, you know, hopefully the bush, it will wet. Well, it will be wet from the road anyway, so it will make a difference. It will be wet.
You have to stay with us for the continuation of this conversation, this profile. My guest is President of the Guardian Life, and it's Eric Hosin, CD. We'll be right back.